Raptors still need a rebounder. They still need additional help in the center position. It doesn't need to be a huge investment, but there's a potential that they will look to the NBA draft to solve this position. And based off of the most recent batch of workouts the Raptors have handed out, they could be looking at a player like Zach Edey or others. We're going to talk about the 6 players the Raptors did bring in for a workout here to try and get a sense of what they're currently looking for and what they're currently shopping for to fill out the rest of this team. This channel right here is Amateur Hour Clips, part of the Amateur Hour Production Network, where it continues to be all Raptors all the time. On this channel, we take the best segments from the live streams that we do over on the main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, and clip it into some bite-sized segments for you to enjoy. So, if you do enjoy along the way, make sure you do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well to stay up to date on all the content we have coming your way. For starters, I mean, the big one is Zach Edey. Zach Edey is the headline one here. The Raptors have given Zach Edey a workout. They've brought him in. I mean, they're doing their job here. Look, they're going to work out a ton of players, but this was the most recent batch of players that the Raptors have decided to give a workout to just to get a sense of what they could bring to the team. So on top of Zach Edey being there, they brought in Keon Brooks Jr., Joseph Girard III, Jameer Young, and also other Canadian players like Emmanuel Miller, who actually is the brother of Leonard Miller, drafted into the NBA last season, and Tyrese Samuel. Again, 2 Canadians over there. We're getting ready for that June 26th draft, which also is the second round on June 27th, which a lot of the players that I have just spoken about here will be hoping to be involved with, because this is a really strange batch that has come out here. Not strange in the sense that the Raptors are working out these players, but it's strange that they've brought in these 6 specifically, or at least these 5 specifically, alongside Zach Edey. Zach Edey is projected to be either late lottery or late lottery or just outside of the lottery. At least that's where ESPN has him, and some other major mock drafts are starting to put him a little bit higher. Some still have him in the latter stage of the first round or very early parts of the second round, but we still don't have quite the general consensus on where Zach Edey is going to end up. But, I mean, he's getting drafted, and again, there's a potential for him to fall in the late lottery here. But the rest of the guys here, with respect, the rest of the guys here would probably struggle to even get drafted. It's a strange batch of players to look at here. But let's have a look at the type of players the Raptors are giving themselves a look at, starting with Keon Brooks. Keon Brooks played all 5 years of college basketball, was supposed to go into the draft last year, didn't end up doing it. I think a lot of the fringe draft guys last year probably looked at the 2024 class and said, I have a better chance of getting in the draft in this one, but he's just an energetic guy. He plays both 4 positions, can play as the 4, can play as a 3, and he's got a big motor. A lot of energy. The intangibles are there, but pretty much he can score a bit in mid-range, get to the rim. Doesn't have a 3-point shot, really. If he did, well, he'd probably get drafted. That's the difference for Keon Brooks here. But, yeah, his last season of college basketball might showcase, might give you a sense that, okay, could something happen here? Like, he shot less than 30% in his first 4 years of college ball, but in his most recent season, jumped up to 38% from 3. Impressive enough to, get a workout or 2 and get invited to the G League Combine. But, yeah, here's a guy, Keon Brooks, that is going to struggle to get drafted. He'll have to showcase a lot more 3-point shooting to get himself in that position. If you do want shooting, and if the Raptors do want shooting, then Joe Girard III is the guy that they should be looking at in this position here. He's the opposite, pretty much. Joe Girard III out of Clemson, he only shoots. That's all he does. If he wanted to be in further draft considerations, he would really have to take on some more. So he just have to bring on more to his game in other positions, but just didn't really do that. Shot the hell out of the ball. He's always been a good shooter, but other than that, just doesn't really offer much to your team. This is just not the type of guy that really ends up in the NBA, on NBA rosters. It's somebody who definitely fits the bill of a college player and a successful one at that, not so much the NBA. A bit of a strange one for the Raptors to take a look at, in all honesty. like, at least with Keon Brooks, you've got a switchable player who can maybe play, give you an energy spot on defense, especially in the G League. But Joe Girard, it doesn't really make a lot of sense there. Same can be said for Jameer Young. Like, you've got another athlete here, another guy who can play as both the forward positions, but this doesn't bring a lot scoring-wise. Is a super inefficient player. I get they're doing their homework, trying to check as many players as possible, but Jameer Young is just a weird one for the Raptors to look at. What is a little bit less weird, perhaps, is looking at Emmanuel Miller, Canadian player playing at a TCU right now, brother of Leonard Miller, currently in the NBA. Emmanuel Miller is not quite as good as his brother here, but this does more so fit the bill of what the Raptors could be looking for. Maybe as a chance to end up later in the second round. Won't be on the Raptors' radar almost certainly with the 31st overall pick. I mean, I just cannot see that coming to fruition at all. I think he'd be pretty fortunate to get drafted, but here's a guy, again, who's got the length, got the size, versatility that piques the Raptors' interest, and some efficiency. Shot the ball 38% from three in college this season, a 5-year player, granted, and just under 50% from the field. Maybe somebody the Raptors take a stab on, throw him in the G League and see what they can get out of him, and perhaps the same can be said for Tyrese Samuel. But overall, this is a strange batch of players for the Raptors to pair with Zach Edey, or at least put with Zach Edey. I don't know. Out of all the players here, Emmanuel Miller is the only one I could really see having a chance to really get signed by the Raptors. But I guess this is the whole draft process here. You got to do your homework. You got to look at every possible player just so you don't miss out on anything at all. But Zach Edey still continues to baffle me. Yeah, we're looking at some poor players here, but you look for the undrafted free agents. You look for the guys you can put into your G League system. You look for guys with some sliver potential to see what they can bring you there. It was kind of like last year with Marquise Noel. Put him in the G League, see what he can do for your team. Had a really good, successful G League season. Will things continue there? We shall see going forward. But Zach Edey continues to be a bit of a head scratcher for me. It doesn't make sense to use that your 19th. It's likely that if the Raptors want Edey, that it has to be 19th overall. It doesn't make sense to draft him 19th overall when there are so much more glaring holes with your team, and you already have Jakob Poeltl locked up on your team for 3 more years. And Edey is just simply not as good as Jakob Poeltl. Just straight up, Edey is not as good as Jakob Poeltl is. So all of this is just a touch confusing for myself, but hey, these are the guys the Raptors are getting a look at, and at least we have the confirmation here that they are getting themselves a look at Zach Edey to see what he can provide. Going to do their homework, of course, as always. See what they have there. Maybe put him through the ringer shooting-wise. Maybe put him through the ringer in showcasing his lateral quickness, what he can do in those positions. I wish all the best. Zach Edey's a Canadian. I'm a Canadian. I want to see Canadian players succeed. Zach Edey's also said he wants to go to the Olympics, and he probably will make it because the Canadian team has no size, really. I want to see Canadians succeed, but it just makes me way too nervous to use a 19th overall pick on. Still out on Zach Edey unless something drastic changes, man.